Hello, everyone. I'm Jean-Claude at BeyondMystic, and welcome to this deep woo-woo episode entitled The Quantum Woo with MARYAM HENEIN. This is part 3. You can find her work at MARYAM HENEIN here on YouTube, at Honey Colony, of course, and on Telegram as Truth Lives Here. Let's give her a big warm welcome. MARYAM, welcome back.
Hello, everyone. Hello, Jean-Claude.
Hello, hello, hello. Just your friendly neighborhood severe multiple violator here producing the shows. How are you, everyone? Thank you for joining us here on our third backup channel here on YouTube. Wait, what happened to that? Let me bring it back. So, folks, if you just find us here again, you probably noticed that we were terminated last week, and this is our third channel. So please do hit that subscribe button and hit that notification bell. All of our shows are indeed live. Alrighty, MARYAM, what's new with you?
Well, I was listening to the Rona origin hearing today, and it's very interesting. So yeah, listening to that and just also contending with my health issue.
Mm-hmm. And well, I was gonna ask you questions on the Rona origin, but we might get into trouble. And I just got a brand new baby channel. Give me at least a couple of days, MARYAM, before you blow me up.
I would just say I would suggest people to
go check it out.
Listen. I really would. I'm listening to it for the second go because I care about details and I have to listen to things a couple of times. And earlier today, I was listening to a hearing. I'm not sure on who was listening to the hearing, but it was a bunch of injured people. That on the heels of both of us hearing that our parents have gotten the jab.
Right. I have a link. I'm not sure if I can share this one here. Citizens Grand Jury, John Cullen's testimony with Larry.
Yeah.
Is that the one? Okay, let me bring.
No, that's not the one. This is an actual hearing with, parents and mothers and people who are talking about being maimed. But I am a big fan of John Cullen and Jason Goodman.
Yeah, let me bring that link down anyways here. A few people had already sent it to me. It's in my queue to watch for tonight. I haven't watched it yet, but here you go, guys. Please do go check that out. And Ed says, yeah, smash the likes for GC. Thank you so much for the staying power. I'm not sure I have staying power. I have repeat power, but staying, I don't know. Yeah, thank you. And John says, hi, GC, MARYAM. Glad you violators are back. Canadian violators at that. Come on, man. You gotta give us a credit for being a staunch.
Yeah, well, if I can also say that if you are and you get a test because you get sick, the threshold has been lowered now to 28 cycles, and so they're not. It's not a standard. It's just so.
Yeah, you can see folks here having these conversations are getting harder and harder. And best we try. And my God, did I try on that last channel to not say anything, other than maybe have videos about cats. Maybe I should have done that, but still, it wasn't enough. No strike, no warning, nothing. Bye-bye, you're gone. And so we're back. So thank you, everyone, for supporting us here on this show. And we have a little bit of a surprise for you here tonight. So let me bring that up. As you know, we've done quite a few shows, which are now deleted by YouTube, by the way, on this whole multi-layer psyop regarding George Floyd. And this, of course, is the upcoming book by MARYAM HENEIN. And now, for your viewing pleasure, we have all 3 of these episodes into one package here on our Patreon show. We've priced it at $3.99. The cup of coffee, really, seriously, for MARYAM, and 100% of those proceeds do go to MARYAM and her research and the upcoming book. So I encourage you to give that a try. If you've already seen one episode, maybe you can buy the episodes independently. But if you haven't seen them yet, please do go and support MARYAM here by purchasing this wonderful trilogy. And on there's really, really hot stuff that we weren't even able to say here on the YouTube channel, which was absolutely crazy. So let me bring that link back down to MARYAM. Go ahead.
We also premiered the trailer to the upcoming documentary that is going along with the book as a visual to illustrate some of the truths that were buried, and just so people know what the what kind of research. Like, for instance, today, you can't see it, but I got something from Texas. I'm ordering files, I'm paying for documents, and I would like to pay the editor who helped me realize this vision of mine. Like, I have the line edit, and she executed it amazingly. So yeah, it's all out of pocket as I continue. I have a literary agent, but we're looking for a courageous publisher to take on such a story of truth when you have such a strong mainstream narrative supremacy.
Right. And Maryam, in terms of tips here on maybe some other evidence unfolding on this story, how can people reach you directly with that?
So in the spirit of crowdsource the truth, that Jason Goodman is why his reports are so excellent, that anyone who has any information on the relationship, or any information, but relationship between George and Derek, given that me posting a ad on Craigslist within an hour, I've posted it twice, has been flagged and removed for whatever reason. So many people in the inner circle of this event say that George and Derek did know each other. Some believe they knew each other 5 years, when on paper they worked at El Nuevo for about a year. They were, well, George was unemployed at the time of this event. He's a 3-time felon. Theories abound that maybe he threatened to blow the whistle or wanted money, given that he was in need and out of his 2 jobs.
Wow. Fascinating. Of course, we won't get into too much of that here tonight, but thank you for that quick recap. And of course, folks, if you want to support Maryam, please do go and check out that trilogy. It's available now on our pay-per-view. 100%, again, of those proceeds go to Maryam. And if you want to give her a tip tonight, you can use our PayPal tip jar here. Let me bring up the link here. These will also go to Maryam, seeing as she no longer has her own PayPal. And that's a whole other story here, again, having to do with economic warfare against truthers. So let me bring up that tip as well. So there you go, folks. Okay, tonight's episode, folks, is all about Maryam.
We're going to be exploring past lives, and what else did we say? Memories, karma, absolutely, karma. Reincarnations, yes, it's all linked. When I was working at a club, it was a club in Montreal called 747, and I remember. Do you remember that club?
Yeah. Do you remember the Fufun Electric?
Way, baby. Way. I never visited Fufun. I never went there. Maybe because you're Quebecer.
I'm not a Quebecer. What are you talking about? I'm a Franco-Ontarien. No, I used to go to Montreal for these DJ competitions when I was like 16 and 17.
Wow,
I wasn't even of age yet to go into clubs, but I got into these clubs.
Right. Me too. Metropolis.
Yeah. Oh, Metropolis. Yeah.
Metropolis.
Yeah. The Metro. All you Montrealers out there, you know what we're talking about. Yeah. Good time. Yeah.
So I was working at 747. I was the ticket chick. And I was writing a story, and it was titled Karma, That Bitch Doesn't Forget.
Mm-hmm.
And it was personifying karma and really exploring. I was using it as like a tongue-in-cheek, but really looking at how karma works. And at that time was reading the Celestine Prophecy, and full of synergies. And in regards to past lives, that I feel, we talked about this briefly off camera, that I know some people that everything is like a past life. And then the danger of that is you're not living in this life. And so I as a storyteller, I'm intrigued with what comes up. I'm interested in the symbols, but that's where the only one part woo is, that I'm not full on woo where I'm letting this dictate. I'm just entertaining and open and seeing what resonates and what doesn't. It's, if anything, it's just also, if you're doing past life, it's like an exercise in creativity almost, or imagination. And whether it's real or not, you can still draw lessons and break patterns and evolve, I believe.
Yeah. And speaking of past lives, we have quantum healing of the soul. Elisa Herrera is in the chat here, and she's saying, wow, Mariam, you look so happy. And of course, you did a regression with her as well. Do you want to talk about that here a little bit here, seeing as our other episode on this whole subject has now been nuked by YouTube? Let's give a little bit of a taste.
Sorry, I'm wearing these magnetic, it's so embarrassing, these magnetic lashes, and I don't know if it's like, it's look very weird.
Are you doing doing the Justin Trudeau thing on us? Is that what's happening here?
No.
Your eyebrows are gonna melt.
No. Hi. Sorry, I got distracted.
No problem.
Well, in regards to when I was thinking exactly to go with the imagination, it's exactly when I was with Elisa, just kind of thinking there was resistance, and I didn't really know that we were going to do past life regression, or because sometimes I just say yes to something on intuition if it feels good, but I don't necessarily, like this editor I just hired, like I had not even looked at her work. It was just like, yeah, yes. And so the same thing, so not knowing that we were going to do past life regression, and then only in the aftermath or retrospectively seeing how some things totally make sense that came up. And then it's always great when things don't make sense because it's something new, and sometimes it's like, even if I wanted to, I couldn't, my subconscious make that up. Where the hell did that come from? And I remember, yeah, so I don't know if you want to comment on that.
Which one? The fact that you're gorgeous, Mariam?
No.
Oh, not that one. Oh, folks, okay, bear with us here. Mariam and I are friends, and of course, we haven't done a show in a while, and we're just rolling with the punches, and we thought we'd have some fun tonight. So I'm feeling a little bit giddy. I'm always excited when Mariam is back on the show. So thank you, Libby, for that comment. Let me bring up Elisa's website here, guys. If you're interested in this quantum life transformation and perhaps a regression of your own, please do go check it out at quantumlifetransformations.com. Damn it. Ooh, there you go. Alrighty. Mariam, okay, so let's start talking about that. You were this ticket chick, as you called it, and you were already thinking about these concepts of reincarnations and past lives. Now, you've done quite a few travels in your day here, doing all of these documentaries, including the one in Egypt. Maybe speak about that a little bit here, how that connects also, and that how that opened you up to the possibility that you had been here on this plane before.
Okay, I want to just go back to my first memory of being 6 years old in classroom. And I remember an orange wooden desk and the light coming in from the left side. And it was a very simple phrase. And it was just that if I'm not here, I'll be somewhere else. And it was not about being physically in the classroom. There was something that came to me about the spirit. Now think of how young I am. That's not necessarily, where is that wisdom coming from? And so I joke that I'm an old spirit that has died young many times, and that I feel that one of my lessons is I'm not scared of death. I'm scared of pain, and I'm scared of aging. And maybe that's why also I think really early on, I said to myself, I'm like wine, I get better with age. And I have gotten better with age, but I'm very aware. And of course, it's like touches upon all of our vanity and just being like, I see this as my temple having almost died, and I want to take care of it. And also think we've been given lies about aging and we're being slowly killed. So anyway, so I had that notion really early on. And then when I was 13, and I've talked about Mark and him being hit by an 18-wheeler and being raised Christian, and then really being broken open, and it was like an egg cracked, and then slowly after that I met this like security guard. My parents were doing something and he introduced me to Om, and then I was listening to things about near-death experiences and trying to do out-of-body experience, OBEs, and so it really like cracked me open, and I feel so lucky that I was inquisitive and asked these questions. And let's say that realization of, oh, I'm an old spirit that's died young, I mean, that's through self-inquiry and asking questions, and really using these tools like past life regression to learn what is your lesson here. I just realized with my near-death experience, if you don't learn now, it just, everybody knows it gets louder and louder and louder, and then you're forced to contend with something if you don't listen to the messages. So I take that as also you're here, especially now. Look at like in the Rona regime, like there's a reason why you signed up for this. So just wanting to be the best version of myself and using past lives to also, early on when I had my near-death experience, when I was working with that teacher, she was channeling my higher self, and we did a past life regression, and I looked, there was someone, I was seeing something, and the person that I was viewing was not a good person. And then she asked me to look at them and look into their eyes. And then I realized, oh my God, that's me. That's me, that not good person. And realizing that, oh yeah, I wasn't always a good person. And this is how we learn. Yeah, so that's a lot to say. How about you, Jean-Claude? This is a conversation, so I interview with MARYAM.
Right. Well, to me, one of the biggest thing as a kid too, I remember going to church and listening to the priest, and you talked about having wisdom at a young age. I was looking at him and he was saying basically, thank you for coming to our congregation. Of course, we here have all the answers you need. Don't go to the one across the street. They don't know what they're talking about. And I'm like, Mom, isn't it possible that the priest across the street is saying the exact same thing, to not come to this one because they have all the answers, right? I said, how could that be? And she looked at me like, who are you? I was like 5 or 6 years old at the time. And I've always thought, as I studied Jean-Paul Sartre, what was the name?
No Exit.
No, Camus.
Oh yeah, okay.
L'étranger de Camus. Well, Sartre too is very interesting, but Camus, L'étranger, really got me thinking about these lives and how it's important to live this life, but also the disconnect, because he was saying basically do everything you can, eat everything, fuck everything you can, all of that, like enjoy life because it's so short. And I was like, wait, that's kind of cool, but at the same time, really, is that all there is? We're a flash in the pan? And I had trouble reading that book, and I kept telling that to my teacher. And then you're like, well, once you go further and further into philosophy, you'll understand this idea of karma and reincarnation, and the fact that it's been removed from a lot of our textbooks, at least here in the West. Yeah. So talk about that a little bit, MARYAM.
Yeah, I remember learning early on in my teens that they removed reincarnation in the Council of Constantinople, is it? And how that, because they wanted to control the people, and if the people realize that they come back again and again, then there's no
repercussions.
Yeah, no. I would argue to say it doesn't really matter, regardless now, right? And at the same time, it's like, when you're saying don't be, let's say, maybe it's someone's karma to be hedonistic that life. It's like you have certain lessons to learn. And that's why in America, from a long time, I'd say this is like a teenager country compared to Europe or others. Like this is their fate to go through this, to wake up. And I still think that. So there's like karma of countries, karma of individuals, karma of families, that they come together. I've certainly in my life done cord cuttings where it's like, not seeing you next time. Ciao, like that's it. learn the lesson. And then also, I guess, if you're evolved enough, whatever that means to you, that if you want to ascend or not come back, and that goes to that dig that I had done, that I did on the light, like don't follow the light, because that's the trap to recycle you back. Yeah. So this is the 5553 AD. They condemned reincarnation, and it's when I had my near-death experience and became everything and nothing at the same time, that really puts things in perspective. And there's so many dimensions, and of course people like you and me that are intuitive, it's like we're operating on more dimensions that people can see in this third dimension, which is just a fraction of it.
Right.
It's too bad to be that arrogant. I remember, if we do end up having Bernard Gunther, who introduced me to hyperdimensional entities, but also has done this amazing documentary on UFOs or aliens. And it's just like, imagine us, we have this cattle that we're prodding and using for our own means. Of course, why not whether it's even the psychopaths or the whatever, the reptilians on this planet, but someone mining, harnessing us like batteries.
Well, yeah, I've said this on the show many times before, and it gets me in trouble every single time, but it bears repeating.
Why?
We live in this energy extraction matrix, basically, for all of the intents and purposes. What Maryam just said, we are batteries, slaves to that machine, and there are ways to disconnect from that. Of course, there are hints of that in the movie The Matrix. Neo, the character, we are all Neo, really. I'm Maryam, she's me, and I'm you, the audience, and you are me as well. We all have to wake up to that fact. So that's the first part, the disconnection. And then there's a question about how to re-empower yourself with your battery. And this is also last year where I got into some trouble about talking about Kundalini or sexual energy or prana or chi, whatever you want to call it. All of these old practices that have been hidden from us on how to create and increase that charge, because your manifestations on this planet are intrinsically related to how much energy you put to them, right? So there's a big learning there, and this is one of the best kept secrets. And in terms of humanity's freedom, this is perhaps the last big gate that most people have to jump through, is that understanding. And this is not necessarily connected to the show, but it is in a way, because you're going to keep coming back here until you learn that, right? And universe doesn't care if it takes you 3 minutes to learn a lesson or 3,000 lifetimes.
Right.
It'll give you what you need. And a lot of people say, oh, universe is doing this to me. No, actually, it's doing this for you because you've asked for those experiences in order to learn what it is you're supposed to learn in this lifetime. Let's get into that.
Just that fundamental belief of this is happening for me and not against me, that changes your whole experience. And this year, more than anything, has shown me how our beliefs really do dictate our reality. You know, what kind of existence do you want to live in? Do you want to be wearing 2 face diapers and a visor everywhere you go? Right. Or, you know, and again, if this was what it's said that it would be different. But just what is shaping your experience, and how to really transcend victim stance. And that is really important. That I feel that is really important. It's like just really sitting with yourself. And I am thankful that I have this wisdom, this ancient wisdom, that I feel the ties have been severed a little bit, because I have been caught up in like third dimensional things to cover. And I think that the state of the world is because it's lacking more rooted. Obviously, religion hasn't done what has it done to bring wisdom forth when we're just kind of rejecting our ancestors and these ancient practices of even like things like a dream circle. Right. You know, I want to just say that I told myself today, things are just coming to me. I'm not, nothing has been planned other than thinking of some past lives to share. So please excuse that, because
No, this is great. We're having a great conversation, and folks are here to join us. And the woke dealer Pinkarisa says, "Yeah, I just saw someone in their car next to me today wearing, face diaper and gloves. Still, yeah, apparently that person didn't get the memo yet. But that's changing. I mean, Mariam, I had some people visit one of my rental apartments the other day, and like these are the normies of the normies of the normies, like really, really normies. And still, they were looking at me. I wasn't wearing a mask, and when they got there, they wore a mask, and then they kind of like felt embarrassed, and then they started taking their masks off. And the husband's like, "Oh, Jeanette, I don't know, And she says, "Oh, well, like, come on, like this, this is crazy. It doesn't make sense anymore. All this stuff." And I'm like, right, you're on the right track. Oh,
yeah.
but anyways, it's just funny to see, like you just said, how your thoughts make your reality. It's as easy as that. And again, what you just said was important. This is not what they told us this was going to be a year ago. So we had to at least be cautious. You and I have talked about being cautious way back when we started this whole ride, until we knew and had more evidence. Now, a lot of evidence is already in there, to the point now where even doctors are being threatened with 6 months of prison in Australia for recommending alternative things, again, in trying to adhere to their Hippocratic oath to do no harm. And of course, if you look at all of these reports around the world, there's a lot of harm being done by the introduction of this particular thing. So that's the craziness that we're in now. And my heart goes out to those doctors. Again, their livelihood, I know, your livelihood, my livelihood, it's all threatened by this big, let's just call it a story right now.
A mob, yeah, this is totalitarian, just, yeah. But if you are in Los Angelinos, attention all shoppers, if you're fully jabbed, because of the Delta, you still have to mask up. Like that's the headlines today.
They're saying the same thing here in Canada. Despite all the numbers going down and blah, blah, we're just not there yet. So folks, keep going, keep washing hands, keep social distancing, all of that stuff. Even though 70 or 80% plus now are supposedly safe. So imagine that. This was the article I was talking about here in Australia. It's just absolutely mind-boggling to see all of this. Wow. Putting doctors in jail now for speaking their truth and for abiding by their oath not to do harm. And when you think about it, it's just crazy. All right, back to the topic.
If we tied this all in, all of these lies and these severe mess, it would be very easy to fall into victimization. I mean, I'm being victimized. I'm there. So what's the response? What's the attitude to whatever is happening to you? I think at this point, we all have family members that we've broken up with or lost, whether it's because of jab views or politics or whatever. This is divide and conquer. And so what do we do with these lessons when we feel alienated or feel like a freak or feel like you come from Cat Planet, or how do we go in deeper? Because being in LA, which I'm not anymore, but I was part of the woo-woo scene and the new age scene. And I started seeing the toxicity or when I went to California Psychic School, and, we are one, like, there's no difference, I am you, blah, blah, blah. And the teacher said, why do you want to be someone else? Do not mix your energy with someone else. Not in don't recognize your fellow human and the similarities, but just it was a different mentality of not wanting to join just because it's woo-woo or being in your own field.
Mm-hmm. Well, I agree. I mean, you have to be in your own field, even though we're all in this soup together. I'm me and you're you, and I have to be me because everybody else is taken, right? I have to go through my shit, my karma, and this is what it's all about. Talk about I want to go back to Egypt here. You and I have done quite a few shows on Egypt already, but go back to that experience of being in the pyramid and maybe bringing back an entity there with one of those little statuettes, and how that also connects perhaps with some of the past lives that you recall on your own, but also maybe that you got through some of these regressions. I'm sure there's a lot of new audience here that weren't here at the time we did that episode a couple of months ago. I'm sure they'd be fascinated to hear about that.
Yeah, I had to get assistant to try to figure out why on earth this what happened is, one, I had never been to Egypt. I'm half Egyptian, and I saw an ad on Craigslist for a host on the Ark of the Covenant, and right away I said, that's me, they're looking for me. And then fast forward, I'm there, and I had the near-death experience. So I had a metal rod in my leg, and this was kind of the first job, and I'm going back to the motherland and end up taking this Shepti, and the Shepti is replaced, or did replace, the slaves that they buried alive. And then immediately was like in the Brady Bunch episode of, not, you're not supposed to take the lava back away from Hawaii. And I started dreaming in Arabic, and I heard Sibiha and Hatshepsut. And Hatshepsut was not a very good pharaoh. So I then, after picking up an entity and having an exorcism, and then being in severe insomnia where I wasn't sleeping till 8:30 and 7 in the morning, and then I had to wake up at 8:30. So it's like literally on 1.5 hours of sleep, working on Catwoman on the reshoots on the Warner Brother lot. And so I did, after finding out that there was an entity, on one end I was told that I was a not very nice ruler, and was not nice to the servants, and this was my karma. And then there was someone else who said that I had been buried alive, and that I was taking back a piece of myself. So there you have two, they could both resonate. I certainly have enough karma with customer service and it resonates, that I was probably like some bitch ruler, but because I feel in this life I didn't come from money, but I feel like a self of, I've always felt like, I've been told self of entitlement, like as if I was a ruler, but I'm like nothing. But I never, any person who's over me, pick up the phone, like I don't, I am deserving of whatever it is that I want.
Right.
Even having a low self-esteem. So that might be from a past life. And then let's say I did take back a part of myself because I was buried alive. That made sense, but I certainly don't have recollections of being a pharaoh slave. More so some type of ruler in Egypt. And then I had memories with my ex, who I think I was in that lifetime with. And I remember because we lived in Greece off and on, building honey colony. And I was in this beautiful village of 400 people in Kardamili in the Peloponnese. And we were driving and we were having an argument. And just one part, we were taking a turn. I mean, it was just beautiful. And I just felt a lot of anxiety. And I just felt like he had killed me in that spot. And I remember we pulled over, and it was very dramatic. But that was one of the few times where it's been it's retriggered something of a past life. There's been other people, like the man that directed me, Bruce Burgess, who directed me in the Ark of the Covenant movie, who also did the documentary Bloodline. He cast me, and as soon as I got off the airport in Heathrow and I saw him, it was just like, oh, where have you been? And we stayed up till like 5 in the morning. It wasn't sexual at all. Well, maybe he at one point was in love with me in this life, but it wasn't reciprocated. But it was like a really deep connection. And there's some people that I've known before, and some people, things like memories have come up and it makes sense, but I didn't know necessarily like have a strong feeling. Yeah, I knew you before.
Right. Now, I've had a feeling that I knew you before. The first time I heard your voice, I'm like, oh, I know this person. And this whole connection with Greece also, I have many dreams of past lives there. And same thing with Egypt. You know what's funny too? You were mentioning about, maybe being some type of, I don't want to say royalty, but I know what you meant. And for me as
Yeah.
a kid too, I had to go put out the trash, it's just like I had chores like every other kid has. And I kept saying to my mom, why the hell do I have to do this? Where did all my slaves go? My mom would look at me, what the hell are you talking about? Like, I used to have people to do this stuff. Why am I doing this stuff here? I couldn't understand. And my parents were just like, where
That's
did we
awesome.
come from? Yeah, it was funny. Let me bring this up here. I believe this one is, this is the 5-step protocol to a long life. But where is this picture taken? Is this Greece? This one?
No, that's Costa Rica.
Oh, that's Costa Rica.
That's
I was
the other
looking for
one.
the better one.
But this is Costa Rica.
Okay. Do you want to talk about this one a little bit? We've never talked about this before on the show.
I just want to touch upon when we met first that
Okay.
For me, I was in the jungle and you reached out to me and you had seen me on Carrie Cassidy and I hadn't tapped into you. I don't know what I was doing. And then you were hearing me on a meta level and it wasn't like, who the fuck is this guy or this is really weird. I was like, you asked me a question and I tapped in and I'm like, oh, we've known each other before. And it was like a very clear, and maybe it is because of the Montreal thing, but there's like just a familiarity.
Yeah.
And it's very few, especially now, that you just have a familiarity, like a recognition of each other's spirits that way extends. It way extends, like you can do it before a screen. And especially if like, now that I realize I'm clairaudient, that you can just infer, I pick up a lot from the voice, but it's just basically, it's beyond the third dimension, this kind of knowing.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I've had many stories over the last, 12 years or so, and I've explained them on the show before. But when I first connected with you as well, and I heard that voice, that frequency, most of the shows I listened to them on 2.0. Like I consume a lot of data, but I just close my eyes and I listen. I listen to the voice. That's where I get, all the text that you're saying, but everything, the subtext, that's where I get it from. And when I heard you the first time too, I was like, oh, I know this person. I have known this person for a long time. So I was eager to get in contact with you and to reconnect them. I haven't looked back though. We've been doing so many things together, and you and I are so crazy busy doing all these shows, being deleted, having to recreate everything, how it goes. And sometimes I think, man, wouldn't it be just great for you and me to go to Egypt or go somewhere in Greece, go in a temple somewhere, and just boom, the whole, like, I could just see the whole visions coming back like really, really quick. And I think part of what's happening right now too is to exactly that, prevent us, people who are just reconnecting now and piecing all of these pieces of the puzzle together from doing exactly that. Because when we travel around the world and we go to these megalithic sites or archaeological sites or even ley lines to some extent, you get keys, you get those DNA activation, those rememberings. And when you're with people who you've been with maybe thousands of years ago, I mean, magic happens. I had a few experiences like that in Sedona and other crazy places around the world already. And that's what Sarah and I were saying the other day. Like, the thing we miss most about this year is not traveling. We are just like, we're hungry to travel and to connect with people, connect with places. And that right now is still a problem. At least here in Canada, it's still a big problem. Oh, man.
No, I hear you. I was a digital nomad, and I look back and I see how the universe took my apartment away. I lost it to mold, and I love that apartment, but it was making me sick. But I left like December 2019, and I had also said to myself, I would love it if someone said, I want to kidnap you. And then Zach said, can I kidnap you? And so I just feel like, look, like the universe helped me not not have so much stuff and be able to move. But now I'm really missing like a home. I wish I had a place where it's mine and I can sublet it legally and then travel. But now everything is so complicated. And again, that's why people go and get. But it's like to do that. I mean, I did that so I can travel. It just shows how stupid this is. But I miss that. I miss that too. When you said, go to Egypt, like I kind of vowed I would never go to Egypt again. But if someone was like, Maryam, let's go to Greece, you'd be happy to have me because I'm a great resource there and I miss it. That feels like where my heart is Greece. And I would go back to Ikaria, which is very Viking. And I also had like past life there. It's like these people they're in the blue zone. It's a blue zone where they live in the 80s, 90s, and there's something preserved. And because it's like this Viking, no easy access, they've become very resourceful. And there was something just very ancient, and so my soul just misses that. Like as much as I love the jungle and everything, like Greece. When I went there, I was like, why isn't the whole world in Greece?
Right, exactly. Oh man, I've had dreams since I was a kid of living in those times. The olive oil, the feta cheese, the wine, the dancing. As soon as I was listen to this. When I was 13, probably 13 or 14. I used to be I call it newspaper boy. I used to have a paper route as a kid, and that's how I would pay for little things. And at the time, I was living in the Quebec province. And for some reason, the government just decided that paper boys were like child, not slavery, what do you call it?
Okay.
What's the word?
Labor?
Child labor, forced child labor, something like that. So they decided no more kids paperboy thing. You had to be an adult. So I'm like, I lost my paper routes. And at that time, I was the dawn of paper routes. Like I had 7 paper routes. I was really good, and I accumulated all my territory. And then I cut it up. I took all the apartment buildings for myself because those were the easiest ones. And then I sublet the routes to everybody else. Anyways, so at some point, the entrepreneur side of me, right? And anyways, at some point, of course, this all came to a screeching halt because the government said, no more child labor. So I'm like, I needed to find another job. And a friend of mine was a busboy at this restaurant called Le Vieux du Lutte.
What?
Greek restaurant, right? I had never been, didn't know anything about all of that. And
Which one?
The one in Gatineau. They had 20 or 40 franchises in Quebec at the time, and it was pretty big. But anyways, this one was in Gatineau. And anyways, I start working there. And I start listening to this music. They had that same tape playing, the whole night, right? Yeah. And I was like, every night I'd go back home and then have these crazy dreams about Greece and how I was connected to that. And all the owners, of course, at that time, they were all Greek. And they thought I was Greek. Like, they loved me. I was like,
I could see you working there so clearly.
Yeah. There's still pictures on the wall. Maybe not in the Gatineau one, but in the Elmer one of all these old. I don't know how they called it, but anyways, it was like the Rat Pack in the days of the waiters that were there. And those were good days. Anyways, good memories there. But it brought me back to this whole culture: the food, the wines, the taste, the smells, the music, all of that stuff. And it connected to me, like resonated really hard that I was connected to this. And I started having these dreams and going deeper and deeper in all of that. So big fascination there. Again, travel, you and I, anytime. When all this craziness is done, I'll kidnap you and I'll bring you to Santorini or something for a week.
That's the thing. I don't want to go to Mykonos or Santorini.
No.
I just it's just everybody. It's like there's 3,000 islands. I'm gonna go to the most touristic
secluded one. Or why don't
personally, I want to go back
to the temple, the Temple of Delphi.
Yeah, I'd go there. You could drive from Athens. The last time I went, I drove myself in foreign country 4 hours into Athens, and I couldn't stay in Athens. But you share your memories, and I grew up with Greeks, and they'd go to class and they'd go "La la mesa," and I'd just be like, I wish I could go and learn Greek, but my father won't let me because he doesn't understand the language. So I just absorbed it and learned it because my mom, that's what she spoke to my yaya, to my grandmother, and to my aunts. And so, I mean, I would go. I don't know how it is in Greece right now. This island is there's retreats. I wanted to move there too. It's beautiful.
I was fascinated by the Greek goddess and, of course, the Greek girls at that age. I was a teenager working at a restaurant. And so the first thing I learned in Greece was poliomorphi kopela, like you're a beautiful girl. Like I wanted to impress all the Greek girls at the restaurant, of course. All right, enough about me. Let's bring up our PayPal tip jar here. Thank you so much, Jim Montgomery. Appreciate it. He says, Maryam is a champion of truth. Oh, here's a question. Did you decide on Costa Rica or Florida?
Well, Jim, you know, they scheduled me to have a surgery in September, and I'm lucky that they've now pushed it to July 30th, but I'm very sad because I don't want to spend my summer in San Francisco. But I have to take care of this health issue, which is a fibroid and a cyst. And, you know, I'm sorry if it's TMI, but I've been bleeding for like 30 days. Off and on, and I'm really like depleted, and I have work to do, and I'm just not well right now. So I don't know. I found out that my friend who I thought escaped to Florida is still here, and now he's telling me that he's afraid to go to Florida because of the mosquitoes. But I'm like, oh my God, maybe we can plan it again, because I have to be honest, like I ruminate, and every morning I open my eyes and I'm like, just need to get out of here. Please, God, please let me get out of here. It's not a thriving environment for Mimi.
I can imagine. Man, my heart goes out to you. Oh, here's another one here from, let me bring this up. Hold on a second here. Am I jammed? No, that worked. Okay. Susan Cano, thank you so much. And she says, thank you for loving receptive space, Jean-Claude and guest Maryam. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. That's awesome. I saw a few more, so let me try to acknowledge all of them here. Richard Zirk, he didn't leave a message, but thank you so much. That's a great donation.
Thank you, everyone.
Yeah, thank you so much, everyone. And all of these are going to Maryam tonight for her work, and also for this surgery, and hopefully get her settled here, either in Costa Rica or in Florida, post haste. So thank you so much, everyone, for that. Jenny says, okay, I wanted to bring it up because you said something earlier on the screen, and I said, oh yeah, like I know you. And Jenny Elisa says, we may have all known each other before. I resonate with so many of you. That is absolutely the case for me as well. And that's what's always unfortunate when YouTube deletes the account, is because I miss you guys. You know, we're back up to 12,000, but we were at 40,000 something, leading up to 50,000 just a couple of days ago. And I'm like, where's my tribe? Come back, guys. I love this, you know, the sharing and the frequency and just all the love in the chat. You guys are amazing. Jenny, you're amazing. Thank you, everyone. Jim, also, like John, all the moderators here. You guys do a fabulous job. Really couldn't do it without you. So thank you. I love you, all of you guys. John says, JC, I too had many paper routes. Oh yeah, and so some of them. Okay, cool. I was 8 when I started. Yeah, that's about right. And maybe 8, 9 to 13, I think. I did this for many years. And you know what? I still have dreams sometimes. I'm older now. I won't say what my age is, but I wake up, oh my God, I forgot my paper route today.
Wow.
I'm all stressed that I forgot, you know, that house at the corner of the street that was always too far. I didn't want to go to. Like, I still feel responsible. Like, oh,
that's
shit.
That's very interesting, Jean-Claude.
I forgot their paper. Oh, like, that's the same thing with here on the show. I'm a DJ, of course. I was a DJ in a bar, and for me, dead air is just like, for me, half a second is like
really?
Eternity. Oh yeah. So I always dreamt, you know, and had I guess stage fright when I was mixing and performing, you know, like for a club, and I was I was always afraid that I would pick up the needle from the record that was live and go to dead air. Like that was the scariest thing for me. Never happened, but I was always worried, you know, when I pick up the needle, make sure that's not the one that's playing live, because, you know, the whole dance floor would go, boo, there's no music, what the heck just happened? And so I have this same weird fear here when there's dead space on my show, I just don't like it. That's why I'm always prepared on everything I do, so that we keep it rolling. Anyways, yeah. So
I think it's good. I mean, of course, it's good to be prepared, and it shows that you're prepared. You're like a seamless maestro. At the same time, I think with friends, it's okay to have some quiet time.
Well, yeah, like sitting on the couch or the fireplace.
Yeah, I mean, quiet moments. Sorry.
Right. Here in the show, I don't know. I just like to keep things moving. Because for myself, when I watch YouTube videos, again, I told you I watch them on 2.0. I'd probably watch them on 4 times speed if I could. So I like, okay, just get to the point, So I always try. I'm cognizant of people watching the show. Like, they came here to learn something. They don't want a dead space.
Absolutely. Yes, we want to offer something. So I want to see if there's any other nooks and crannies to explore with past lives and karma. That again, I'm wondering how many of the people in the audience have done that. What's the purpose ultimately to do past life, to see how we are eternal. I remember working with this woman who was channeling my higher self, and I said something in a class, and I was like, after my accident, had to regain my confidence to speak in front of people. Really, it's like starting from scratch. And I had said something in a writing class, and then I felt really embarrassed. And she told me, you never know what seeds you're planting, and sometimes things come out. And so how do I connect that to past lives? That if something comes up, a past life image, like what can you learn from that? Ultimately, again, it's all about self inquiry, because we don't take any of this with us. But I do believe that we keep on coming back here to learn lessons that are tailored to the person. And that's why it's easy to judge others, but we're all holding space and we all serve a purpose, whether it's the garbage person or the monk. As long as you realize your purpose, which is one of the keys to longevity, which is inagi in Japanese, purpose. So what brings you, what turns you on and makes you alive, and how can we look at ourselves in the mirror and do shadow work to be better people? Because obviously people, what's the saying? People who are hurt others, or something like that. And I certainly see days where I feel like I'm hurting, that I'm not my best self, right? And when I'm in service, or when I take myself out of myself, of being self-absorbed, for instance, then you're open to other things. So again, this is all about self-awareness. Oh, I know I have a tendency to come across like this. Landmark helped me with that, although I did not drink the Kool-Aid, and I have an aversion to anything cult-like, or any, like, even like if it's a group of people. I remember going to a workshop, I think it was a pagan workshop, and the teacher, who she's well known, was like, let's all pretend to be elephants. And I'm not going to join in a bunch of people and just mimic stuff. I have an allergic reaction.
Me too. Oh my god, yeah, I'm not into those so much. I'm more of a self expressed traveler. Like, I'm on my own path, I understand that, but I do a lot of this introspection, as you said, but always this remise en question in French. I've been doing that since I was a kid, and my parents it would drive them crazy, because sometimes I would go overboard and just overthink everything, right?
Is it like a post-mortem analysis, remise en
right, to yeah, well, in Kung Fu, there's Lao's time is one of the term, and basically it means go back and look at what you learned last week. If it still stands, hold it. If it doesn't, chuck it, and then put some new stuff in. So it's always bringing you, and like Jenny is saying on the screen, move that needle forward every day. You can't move the needle forward if you know what you know and you stop learning, right? If you think, okay, you're all good and you're all set in your mentality and what you think you know, you're not going to grow. And so as a kid, I always had this instinct of challenging everything I thought I knew. And it would drive my teachers bonkers. It would drive my parents bonkers. And I was asked all these questions. And sometimes they were right. They would say, okay, JC, I think you got this. I mean, you're very cerebral, you're very analytical, and I think you've got this. Maybe you can stand on this plank for a while. And I've always said that to people. Standing on planks, to me, that was always important, because we walk through life. Most of the people are walking through life, whether they know it or not, on lies. So the planks they're working on are actually not solid foundations. They're based on because somebody said so, but it's never been verified. But that's what you've been taught since you were a kid. And so I understood quickly, why, I'm not sure. But as a kid, and again, maybe from that wisdom from past lives, that I had to walk through this life very deliberately, and I had to make sure that the planks underneath me were solid. And that meant that I had to question everything, not just officialdom and all that. Of course, that's what I do here, and that's why I get in trouble. But I had to question myself too, and everything that I thought I knew. And so I'm curious if the other audience, I'm curious if other people in the audience have that same kind of weird thing about making sure they're walking on solid planks. Because to me, I'm like, I can't be me if I'm walking a fake walk. If I'm walking on shit that's not true, what the hell's the point of me walking forward in this life? And maybe affecting and manifesting in that vein where I'm being basically a servant to somebody else's master. So I've always walked to my own beat, and I've always, maybe sometimes slower, but most of the times a hell of a lot faster than anybody else in my school or in my career, because I was always being propelled by these stronger planks. So I hope that makes sense in the context here, and the people can enjoy that. Elisa Wright, thank you so much, in the PayPal tip jar, and she says, thank you for being such amazing people. Thank you, Elisa. I appreciate that. Thank you. Absolutely nice. Beautiful. And again, if you're just joining us, tonight's episode here, we're trying to raise a few funds here for MARYAM for many, many reasons. The least of which is all the job and the work she's doing investigating this reality, ensuring that information to empower all of you, and of course being demonetized and harassed for doing that. So folks, if you can find it in your heart to buy her a little coffee here in the PayPal tip jar tonight, absolutely, thank you. And also, if you want to check this one out, let me see if I can bring this back on.
Buy me coffee? I won't be using your funds for coffee. I make my own bulletproof, mold-free, pesticide-free coffee.
Oh, well,
I'm a Nazi.
That's amazing. I just meant generally speaking.
I know.
Related. But folks, if you don't want to buy her coffee, you can also give it a try here. We've just packaged now the 3 episodes of the George Floyd multi-layered Psyop. This is the upcoming book from MARYAM HENEIN. Quite a bit of research in there, and never seen before footage that MARYAM has uncovered in all of these investigations. And we've priced this as best we could here to get all of this information to you at a low price. So at $3.99, you get all 3 episodes here, and 100% of those proceeds go to MARYAM and her research, and hopefully to relocate her as well to the place of her choosing outside of China. So, MARYAM, we're 57 minutes in. Anything else you wanted to share with respect to incarnation, past lives, maybe how they connect now, or maybe words of advice for the audience here who are just tuning in perhaps to their reality of past lives, and how their physical meat sack is absolutely not who they are?
I do have a few things to say. One, about meat sacks. I went to the LA coroner's office. I've always been fascinated with death. My first story that I pitched to the Montreal Gazette was about the rising rates of cremation, and I went to the crematorium at Mount Royal and went down and saw this old man that was manning the retorts, which is the ovens, and really kind of faced death. And I remember a bucket of metal things, and I saw this big ball and like this very clunky, and I picked it up. I'm like, what's this? And he said, it's a hip joint. And I thought to myself, oh my God, I would never want to have metal inside of my body. Flash forward to me getting hit by a car and having a 13-inch titanium rod inside of my body. So what can I infer from that? I think if you're starting a path of exploring past lives, I think all of it, like, don't put too much weight. Like I've said, I've have friends that everything is a past life, and then it's kind of abstract, for lack of a better word, rather than being grounded. So you can use it to teach yourself about a pattern that you want to break or something, or to overcome some trauma that and I think also in this life, like, I was really scared of red cars, and I would joke, my friends would like, no, I'm not getting into, you have a red car, I'm not getting into it. If I rent a car, I'm not going to rent a red car. And then when I was 29, at the height of my Saturn return, I got hit by a red car. And so I joke, I always thought I'd be in the car, not under it. So you never know, like, premonitions or things that can come to you. So that would be my advice. I do remember it, as far as I was in Hawaii, and this was after the accident, and I got a vision of being Irish. Like, I was like orange freckles in a somewhere in Ireland, and then I saw myself in a hospital, and I saw committing suicide. And I've always had a fascination with the intersection between spiritual awakening and mental breakdown, because I had a friend that was going into her spiritual awakening and then was basically committed suicide in this life. So I'm just fascinated with what they did with people that were mentally ill. Who says someone's mentally ill just because they hear voices and all of that? And maybe it's because in a past life I was not all there.
Well, I hear voices. Oh, alrighty.
People.
Right. Somebody in the chat said earlier, JC, if you're mixing music in this life, you were practicing alchemy in the past. I absolutely do believe that. I think that was Astro Sam. I forgot. It just scrolled off of my screen here, but thank you for that. And yeah, I feel I'm doing the same thing on this show. I'm mixing people together. I'm mixing all of this information up, and we're making basically a new way of understanding things. And this is why I bring people with such diverse opinions also. It's to push that needle again of what I think I know, to be challenged. And I hope you guys appreciate that. I get in trouble sometimes. People's like, don't bring this person on the show. They talk about, their opinion is different than that one. I'm like, yeah, that's the whole point. Aren't we all supposed to be adults here and trying to grow? That's a big part of that reincarnation.
Also, I really like throwing out the baby with the bathwater. It's like you can, not like certain things of that person or not agree with their politics, but you like this other aspect. And can't you make that distinction and not just chuck a whole thing? Like, can't you, again, beliefs, like, are you seeing the world through a negative lens? Like, I know when I'm having negative days, if like I'm super hormonal and I'm like, it's painting. Like the other day I was watching, there's a Karate Kid series. It's really good. Did you hear? It's like, it's capitalizing.
Wax off. Yeah.
Yes.
My kids watch this series.
It's Ralph Macchio. It's the same actors.
Yeah.
And so I was watching it, and then I was like tearing, and I'm like, oh, Maryam, I'm like, this is hormonal. You must be about to bleed again. So just being aware that we are chemicals, not to be the observer. Are you able to look at yourself and see the movie, not in a disassociated, not taking a responsibility kind of way? But I think that's what makes me also a good writer, that I can sit here and look at the characters objectively and play devil's advocate as a Gemini moon. So again, I like my resounding is self-inquiry, mindfulness, kindness. Just what can I do differently? Or if I'm wanting something from someone, how am I not doing that in a way?
Right.
And the narcs in your life, they can be great teachers, and there's no shortage of them.
Yeah. There's a lot of them around, and they're acting even more crazy now this year. Absolutely fascinating. I had this show with Jay Widener this afternoon on this dystopian timeline, and he was reporting that a lot of his friends and insiders who work in Hollywood are reporting the fact that a lot of people are going absolutely insane. Top-notch actors, the whole set, the crews, and it's just creating huge delays in production and huge cost overlays.
And drama.
Yeah, drama too.
Drama-rama.
Yeah, a lot of weird stuff happening. And of course, that's why I'm doing this show, and where Maryam and I are just having this nice little chat with you guys here tonight. Just it's a little chill as an episode, but it's deep and it's connected, and it's bringing this family together. So thank you so much, everyone, for joining us here tonight. Please do, if you're just finding me again here on my third backup channel, please do subscribe and hit that notification bell as well. And I invite you to also go check out Maryam here at MARYAM HENEIN.
Yes, please. I just made 3,000.
Woohoo! I think you have way more than that. It's funny. The last one that just got pulled also, I had a few psychics. They're like, JC, dude, you have way more than that many subscribers. They're messing with you. I'm like, I know. You know what's crazy too? I just started this channel here the other day. And of course, I've been nuked because I have severe multiple violation, and because my content is also inappropriate for advertisers. I can never monetize here again. But yet, my trailer on my YouTube channel has an advert on it. It's going 100% to YouTube.
Oh, yeah.
It's perfectly fine for them to put ads on my
Now
show.
they said they can make money off of you. Even though you can't make money off of your content, we can.
Yeah, exactly. No, JC, you can't feed your kids. No. But we're going to run ads and rape you. Okay, that's the game. So folks, on that note, if you can and you wish to support me as well, you can find me here on Patreon at patreon.com/BeyondMystic. There you're looking for the Insider Access Pass that gives you access to the conversation, to the great folks here in the community in our Patreon, but it also enables you to steer and direct our future shows as we produce them. And finally, it gives you access to the total library here of pay-per-view episodes. And this is where, thank God, we have this private server now. Again, seeing as we're being deleted everywhere, here at least we have control over the content, and we continue to produce amazing uncensored stuff for you guys. So if you're liking those shows and you're buying a lot of these episodes already, perhaps now is the time, if you want to help me out, to pull that trigger and become an Insider Access Pass member. Really appreciate that. And of course, you can help Maryam here by buying some of these beautiful products here at Honey Colony. Maryam, talk about that a little bit.
So Honey Colony has been around since 2011 and is a phoenix that is an anomaly of I don't even know how we're still around, given that it's an online company and we've been capped. So just to show I use the example from 2015 to 2016. Imagine as an entrepreneur going from 200,000 in sales to $1 million, all on your own without any VC investment, just your hard work. And then next thing you know, it's now as they've slashed the earnings, and because I can't get the reach with Facebook, Google Ads just banned us. And we never anticipated this type of technofascism. I would have, we thought in the principles of what Google told us, for instance, with organic searches that are no more. So it's really reliant on our newsletter, on our affiliates such as Jean-Claude. But you can read the articles and it speaks for itself, the quality, just excellent made. I use everything I have on my site. I use the silver, the hydra, maybe not the lube right now, but usually. So yeah, I invite you. And then I would say, today I was interviewed to speak about as an expert on CBD, since I've been selling it since 2016, before Kim Kardashian and everyone and their mother, because I'm in the future. So we don't get traffic to Simply Transformative because of all the attacks, but ours is liposomal and organic with Chinese herbs. There's nothing like it on the market. And you can use BeyondMystic and get and get 15% off, I believe. So we have a liposomal, CBD, and a tincture and a topical one that have beautiful ingredients. I want to, so please, yes, do support. Excuse me. I say a phoenix because given all the, I just always pull a rabbit out of my booty somehow. And to just, don't take no for an answer. But for instance, many people know that the day of the deadly insurrection, I lost my processor for 5 months. Imagine not being able to make money for 5 months. You've got your goods, you're ready to go, but they won't let you.
Right.
That's what I say.
Can't play the game anymore. We don't like you. Apparently, that's what it's become.
Thank you, Jim.
Jim, thank you for that beautiful comment, and thank you everyone for supporting us. Thank you for all those PayPal donations. Thank you for the Patreon members, because again, without you, we don't.
Yeah.
You've just seen the proof again last week. Without you guys, we don't exist. We couldn't do this without you guys. So thank you everyone for all of your support. Really appreciate it. And Maryam, what's the best way to follow your work as you're doing the investigative reporting right now? Is it still here on Telegram, or do you want people to follow you on your Twitter?
I think on Twitter. I just want to say thank you for everyone. I am a hard worker bee, and your donations will help me in my pursuit of the truth. I want to say that I did share my trailer that is in the trilogy with Bill Maher, and he told me to send him my documentary when it's complete. So that's very exciting, because my dream has been to go on Bill Maher, and he supported Vanishing of the Bees, and we had agreed I'd be on the show to talk about the honeybees, but then the Rona hit, and I also, delved into Orange Man, and anyone who watches Bill Maher knows his views. But he supports free speech. He sees what's happening with the technocratic these companies and censorship. So if people can follow me on Twitter, I'm on Truth Lives Here. I want to say thank you, Jean-Claude, for being in my life, and for being also positive male influence. I really think we need our men. We need the sacred masculine as much as the sacred feminine. And we each hold those energies within us. It has really nothing to do with gender. If you have a little pee-pee or a little yoni, doesn't really matter. It's, it's these energies are within us. It's not about what's on the outside necessarily, right?
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Well, thank you, Maryam, and I feel the same way. And I feel so much more fortunate to have found you again in this lifetime, and my life is better with you in it. And I'm so honored to be able to not only support your work, but showcase your work. You do amazing work. And very few people are as staunch and as brave as you are. And I can say that, folks, knowing many more things that have never been here on the show. And so I appreciate Maryam at a level perhaps nobody can understand. So merci beaucoup, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us here. This was episode 3 here of the Quantum Woo. Join us again next week. We'll find a time here as we are rehashing all of our schedule here and rebuilding this library, but I promise we are going to be back next week with another Quantum Woo episode, and perhaps with a guest as well. Maryam and I are thinking of a few really, really interesting people to interview on this particular series for you guys. So if you have any suggestions on who and what topics you want us to cover on the next Quantum Woo, please leave your comments below as you're watching this on rerun, and Maryam and I will take a look at that and see how we can work together to build the new earth that we all deserve. Thank you so much, everyone. Merci beaucoup, Maryam.
Merci à toi. Au revoir.
Au revoir.
Au revoir.